Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I want to follow on from the remarks of my honourable friend, the member for Chelmsford, as she talked very powerfully about the impact of online pornography, particularly on children who see it. And sadly, online pornography is increasingly violent, and many videos depict graphic, degrading abuse of women, sickening acts of rape and incest, and many underage participants. And I also want to refer to that excellent study by the Children's Commissioner revealing that the average age at which children first encounter pornography online is just 13 years old. And there are 1.4 million visits to pornography sites by British children each and every month. And as the Honourable Lady said, this is rewiring children's brains in terms of what they think about sex, what they expect during sex, and what they think girls want during sex. And I think we will look back on this widespread child exposure to pornography in a similar way to we look back at children down mines or condemned to the poorhouse, and future generations will wonder how on earth we abandoned our children to online pornography. So ending the ready availability of pornographic content to children and criminalising those who fail to protect them should surely be the most important goal of the Online Safety Bill. And indeed it was the aim of Part 3 of the Digital Economy Act back in 2016, but was never enacted. And without the government amendments laid in the Lords last week, which I very strongly support, the Online Safety Bill would also have been in danger of missing that opportunity. And I also want to say thank you, as my colleagues have done, to the Secretary of State and Ministers for their engagement on what has been a really cross-party campaign, both in this place, in the Lords with Baroness Kidron, Lord Bethell leading the way, and also with the charities and particularly campaigning journalist Charles Hymas, who did a fantastic job at the Telegraph reporting this all so powerfully. And of course, my honourable friend, the member for Stone, who has taught me all I ever need to know about how to negotiate with government. So we now have these brilliant strengthening amendments. So significantly, the amendment that will criminalise directors and managers if they don't comply with Ofcom's enforcement notices in relation to specific child safety duties. And this is really important because we are talking about the wealthiest companies in the world. Just having fines will not be enough to generate the kind of culture change at board level that we need. Only potential jail terms, as has worked in construction industry and the financial services industry, will do what it takes. Amendments 141 and 142 have made pornography a primary priority harm for children, and importantly, user-to-user providers, as well as dedicated adult sites, will now be explicitly required to use these highly effective age verification tools to prevent children from accessing them. And this is crucial, this wording of highly effective, because porn is porn wherever it's found, whether it's on Twitter, which, as my honourable friend has said, is the most likely place for children to find pornography, or on dedicated adult sites. It has the same effect, it causes the same harm. And so it's vital that tech companies will actually have to prevent children from going on their sites, not just try hard. So that's an incredibly important amendment.
Does my honourable friend agree that the thing that's really put their teeth on edge most of all is the idea that they might go to prison?
Absolutely, my honourable friend is completely right. It has to go to the very top, the impact of not taking responsibility for protecting children. We've also got Amendment 105, which compels Ofcom to submit their draft codes of practice within 18 months, which is an improvement on the previously lax timescale. I do welcome that and all the very significant improvements that have been made to this bill, and I do want to repeat my gratitude to the Minister and the Secretary of State. However, let us not pretend that on royal assent our children will suddenly be safe from online pornography or any other online harms. There are some serious questions about Ofcom's capabilities to enforce against non-compliant porn sites, and I think we need to take a look again at the provisions in Part 3 of the Digital Economy Act, which would have allowed the BBFC and how to be the regulator, and the provisions that they already had in place. And the fact that they have been using business disruption powers. Oh, I do apologise, yes.
Thank you, for giving way, and I must say I do congratulate her on the excellent effort that she has made in highlighting these matters over a long period of time. And does she agree with me that this isn't the end, this is only the beginning of the first phase in making sure that we do get proper digital access and protection for not only children but for adults who have access to digital devices?
Yes, I thank my honourable friend for his support and his intervention, and he's absolutely right. And the key to this, of course, is the implementation. And one of the capabilities that the BBFC has is to disrupt the business model, disrupt the payment provision of the online industry, the adult industry. And I would ask the Minister to look at whether or not he can direct Ofcom to look at the way that the BBFC do it with offline pornography and stream pornography, and whether or not Ofcom could learn some very good lessons from that. We also still have the disparity between what kind of pornography is allowed offline on DVDs and in stream services and online. And offline, there are certain acts that are illegal, but the BBFC just will not classify. So any act that looks non-consensual, for example, is illegal. It cannot be distributed. And yet online, that material proliferates. The Online Safety Bill should have been the perfect vehicle to expand these rules to all online services offering pornographic content. Sadly, we have missed this opportunity, but I do welcome the government's porn review, which has recently been announced, and hopefully that can be used to close this online-offline gap, and also to insert verification checks for people appearing in pornographic content and related offences, many of whom do not know they're in the videos or have not consented to be in the videos. And we also need to look at the complete lack of moderation that some of these sites have. And it was recently revealed in a US court case that Pornhub have got 700,000 videos on their site that have been flagged as illegal content but have not been checked. And Pornhub managed to check just 50 videos a day, and they acknowledge that unless a video has been flagged for potential criminal content, so child rape, more than 15 times, it's not even going to go onto their queue in order to be moderated and potentially taken down. So those children, those trafficked women who appear in those videos are seeing their abuse repeated millions and millions of times over and over again without any recourse to pull it down. So there's many more things that we need to do following this bill. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill has been controversial, and much of the arguments have been about free speech issues. I am a supporter of free speech. But violent pornography is not free speech. Drawing children into addiction is not free speech. Knowingly allowing children to view horrific sex crimes is not free speech. Publishing and profiting from videos of children being raped is not free speech. It's sickening, it's evil, it's destructive, and it's a crime. And it's a crime from which so many are profiting with impunity. A third of the internet is pornography. The global porn industry's revenue is estimated to be as high as $97 billion. So this bill is an important step forward, but we would be naive to expect this Goliath of an industry to roll over and keep children safe. There is more to do that will require international cooperation from financial institutions and governments that are prepared to stand their ground against the might of these vested interests. And I very much hope that this one will.
Anything.